raise your hands? All right, quite many hands. And as for those who did not raise their hands, I guess you all just came here for the coffee. But I don't blame you because it's good coffee. All right, before we begin, let me introduce myself. I am Zoya Ali Khan and I will be your host for today's Manthan, a talk show. Our subject for today is the importance of education and the prospects of the Indian education system. Recently, I came across a line which has been quoted by Mr. Albert Einstein. It goes like, education is not the learning of the facts, but the training of the mind to think. So at first, this line seemed general, but then I thought and dug into it a bit and it started to make more sense. Like from our childhood, all of us have been trained to get marks, secured good ranks and learn more. But I'm afraid that is this the real aim of education. To clarify this to you all, today we are having some guests with us and now I would like to invite them. Our first guest is Mr. Aditya Gunashekharan. Please welcome him. He is an experienced educationist who has a lot of expertise in this field. Our next guest is Ms. Ishal Bindra. Please welcome her. She has a master's in psychology and has done numerous counseling courses. She is currently working as a counselor in the Tata Institute of Social Science. Our next guest is Mr. Hardik Mahajan. Please welcome him. He is the representative of the Education Ministry. Firstly, I would like to welcome you all to my Manthan today. It's a proud privilege to have you with us. Now, as all of us know that education starts from birth itself and it is not something acquired only in a formal system. So Mr. Aditya, I would like to seek your views about what is education and what is its real aim.
Firstly, Zoya, thank you to you and your team for inviting me here. It is my honor to be here. And as for your question, I believe that a person's integral development is the real aim of education. A fuller and better life is one of its obvious benefits. Through education has the capacity to benefit society as a whole. People in such a society become aware of their rights and responsibilities. Through education, people develop cognitive and physical abilities, establish values and beliefs. This allows us to act as good citizens.
Absolutely, sir. Now, Mr. Hardik, I would like to know about what is the government's visions and policies for the betterment of education and how is the government making efforts to help students put their studies to practical use.
All of you know that education plays a significant role in balancing the socio-economic fabric of the country. Since all the citizens are its most valuable resource, our big and strong nation needs the nurture and care in the form of basic education to achieve a better quality of life. इसके चलते हमारी सरकार ऐसे प्लान और ऐसे पॉलिसीज पर काम कर रहे हैं जिससे हमारे देश के एजुकेशनल इंस्टीट्यूशंस की क्वालिटी बढ़े और डिसएडवांटेज ग्रुप्स लाइक पुअर, फीमेल और माइनॉरिटीज को स्पेशल अटेंशन मिले.
So keeping the thought on hold, we have many hands raised in our audience for questions. Let's have from them. Yes, sir.
Good morning, Manoj. I'm Harsh Bajaj and I have been coding since I was in elementary school. So I spend most of my time writing down games, web pages, apps, etc. Going through the net, I've read a lot about NEP 2020. But still, I had a question which tickles my mind I would like to put forward to our respected Education Minister. Hardik sir, my question is, how the government is helping these underprivileged students? Thank you.
Good thought, sir. Hardik sir, what are your views on this?
We are providing financial help in for scholarships and loan subsidy so that the people from underprivileged sector could get educated.
Surely, sir. Now, Ms. Ishal, I would like to inquire about who is responsible for the proper education of the students. Is it the school, the parent, or the government?
Thank you for the question, Zoya. Actually, there isn't only one body which is solely responsible, but in fact, all three of the mentioned are collectively responsible. The importance of education has been realized, but the responsibility of providing education is yet to be realized. For example, parents at times are completely dependent upon the school for their child's education, but they need to understand that learning begins at home. The home is the child's first school. The practical use of moral values and discipline is something that the child learns at home, because its parents are its first teachers. And besides, one is not considered well educated just because he or she has a certificate in hand, but it's because of that person's moral values and discipline. All I'm trying to convey over here is that all three, the school, parents and the government, are responsible for the development of the students. Everyone is working towards this and they need to continue to do so. So it's like they say, till the full stop doesn't come, the sentence isn't over. Thank you.
I completely agree with you, ma'am. I also want to talk about inclusive education. This way of education has been introduced by the government to promote a common learning environment for all the students. So, does anyone from our audience want to inquire about this? Yes, sir.
Hello Zoya and good morning everybody. My name is Manthan and I am a teacher in our school. I teach sign language. Being a teacher, I am aware of NEP and have a question to the Honorable Councillor. Do you really think that children with special needs are satisfied with the change in their education?
That's a valid question. Ishal ma'am, what would you like to say about this?
Just like our lovely host stated, schools all over the country are promoting inclusive education, which means that now all students are welcomed with open arms to learn at the school. There are special educators which are also hired by schools so as to provide the same learning environment as others and to also cater the needs of special students. I believe that this is indeed a step in the right direction and this will aid students with special requirements. Hope that satisfies your question.
Talking about inclusive education, which was very well explained by Ms. Ishal, today we have a special guest amongst us who would like to share his experience regarding the same. Please, sir.
Good morning, everybody. मेरा नाम विकास कुमार है. मैं 7th A में पढ़ता हूँ. टीचर नाम फैलाने में बहुत मदद करते हैं. मुझे कोरोना बहुत पसंद है.
Good morning everyone. He is my son and I am very thankful to this new education system which has inspired my son to have his own voice today. Thank you everyone.
That is so inspiring, sir. Thank you for sharing your experience with us. Now, we must also talk about the National Education Policy. With its motto, educate, encourage and enlighten, this policy is set to bring wonders to the fundamentals of education and is also to enable every student to develop to their maximum potential. So, does anyone from our audience have any questions about this? Yes, sir.
Thank you. Good morning, sir and ma'am. My name is Sarvesh Shiraman. I am the head editor for India Today. My question is to the educationist. How has NEP helped boost skill-based education?
That's a sensible question. Aditya sir, what's your take on this?
Along with regular subjects that a person learns, skills are also important because they boost the worth of that person to a potential employer. Therefore, NEP gives students the flexibility to plan their education in such a way that it gives them global exposure and more options than ever, which basically means that a student can alter their education plan to learn as per choice. For example, a student studying maths can also pursue music. Thank you.
Indeed, sir. Does anyone else in the audience also have a question for our guests? Yes, sir.
Good morning, Ma'am and Sir. My name is Anmol Singh and I am working as a language teacher in ASS School in Haryana. My question is to the educationist. What does NEP affirm about regional language education? Can you please emphasize on it? Thank you.
Alright, sir. Aditya, sir, what would you like to say on this?
The government has observed, and perhaps you may have observed yourself, that a person learns better in their mother tongue. Therefore, NEP has advocated that the medium of instruction till grade 5, but preferably till grade 8 and beyond, will be the mother tongue of the student in both public and private schools. Take the example of a small child going to school for the first time. If I ask him a question, he will comprehend it in his mother tongue. Why is this so? It is because his parents speak this language with him at home and he is comfortable with it. That should answer your question.
Very well said, sir. Ma'am, I'll come to you now. You've been raising your hand for quite some time. Yes, ma'am.
A very good morning to all. My name is Soumya Sharma and I am a student of class 8. I've seen many of you discussing about education policies. I was intrigued, so searched about it in depth and came up with a question which is for the Education Minister, Mr. Hardik. Sir, is there anything to promote girl child education?
I was quite expecting this question. Hardik, sir, what is your belief on this?
Our government is doing a lot of effort to promote girl child education. We have introduced various schemes like Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, Balika Samriddhi Yojana, CBSE Udan scheme and many more. I hope this satisfies the question.
Alright, sir. Now let's talk about the modern way of education and the ancient or the traditional way of education. Both these teaching methods are similar but also different. So, does anyone from our audience have any queries about this? Yes, sir.
Good morning, Ma'am and Sir. I am Yashwant and I am a journalist from ABP News. My question is to the councillor. Ma'am, what are your views about the Gurukul system of education? Thank you.
Quite a well-founded question. Ishal